All right, the meeting is being recorded and it is 6:31. So I will call us to order. Welcome everyone to the June meeting of the Carmel Mountain Ranch Saver Springs Community Council. I'm your chairperson, Eric Edelman, and we will begin by having introduction of board members. And Dan, why don't you kick us off?
Dan Thompson, business owner, Carmel Mountain Ranch since '88.
Thank you, sir. John Chu, are you here? We'll come back to John Chu. Rich Craigie.
Rich Craigie, homeowner, Carmel Mountain Ranch.
John Schroeder.
John Schroeder, homeowner, Carmel Mountain Ranch.
Mark Clark.
Mark Clark, homeowner, Carmel Mountain Ranch.
Thank you. Michelle Mullen.
Michelle Mullen, homeowner.
Thank you. Joseph Valencia. I know Joe was there. I see him. I know he's here. I talked to him. Joseph. We'll come back to Joseph. I know he's here. Kurt Carlson. Kurt Carlson. Kurt's not here yet. Dustin Leal. Dustin Leal. Bruce Bergman.
Bruce Bergman, homeowner and owner of a dog that's barking, Carmel Mountain Ranch.
Welcome, Bruce. Thank you. Larry Fontaine. We'll come back to Larry. John Chu, I saw you joined. Are you there?
Yep, homeowner, Walden.
Thank you. Joseph Valencia.
He's waving his arms around, so I think he's hearing you.
I'm not sure why. I heard him before. I'm not sure why.
He's muted.
Well, he's here. Joseph Valencia is here for the record. Kurt Carlson.
I'm in.
Yes, thank you, Joe. Kurt Carlson.
Kurt Carlson, homeowner.
Thank you. Okay, so that's everyone except Dustin Leal. Dustin, are you here? Dustin, okay. And I am Eric Edelman, and I am a business owner and homeowner here in Carmel Mountain Ranch for a long time, resident since 2004 and current homeowner, on and off. Okay, all right. All right, whoever's got that. Okay, so that brings us to, at this point, I count one of us missing. Dustin is missing, but I think everybody else is here. Okay, so okay, approval of minutes. I sent out some minutes for April and May last week. Do I have a motion to approve those?
Make the motion to approve them.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Dan. All those in favor, or actually, let's say anyone opposed or abstaining? Unanimous approval of the minutes from April and May. Introduction of board members complete. Do I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Motion to approve tonight's agenda.
Second?
Second.
Any opposition or abstention? There being none, we will move on to public comment. Non-agenda items. Any public comment on non-agenda items? Anybody who wishes to do so may either unmute or raise your hand or wave your arms or whatever. I'm not hearing any non-agenda public comment, because I think everybody just wants to get to the good stuff. which of
Hey, I-
course
I'll-
is, what's that?
Eric, I'd like to make a quick comment.
Oh, there's Harold. Okay, go for it.
Sorry. I had a thought that my brother who's in Portland, is much on the build more houses side of things. And I'm thinking about the whole situation. And one thing that he's very strong on is we don't want to build more freeways because as soon as you build the freeways, they will fill up with more cars. And that's the general philosophy, I believe, that like the Sandag right now, Crota is pushing that philosophy, making it more difficult to, not making it easier for everybody to drive cars. So the thought that I had, and this is sort of a rhetorical question, is if we build more houses, which is another high demand constrained supply issue like freeways, why is it that some people believe that building more houses will not create additional demand to fill up all those houses? So just a thought I had, that sort of if the freeway problem is hopeless, the housing problem is equally so.
I'd like to bring up, I think our future meeting should be in person.
Oh, boy, okay.
Just a thought I had.
Okay, sorry, Harold, I had a technical difficulty.
Meeting should be in person.
Oh, boy, okay. What the heck? Okay, I'm sorry. I gotta close. I got too many windows open, folks. Too many windows.
Sorry, Eric.
That's all right, Dan. I just had to close. I had too many windows open. Harold, I'm sorry. Do you want to finish that thought? I had a technical issue and I think I stepped on the end of your statement.
I don't know, I just went to the end of it, which is to say that, I don't know, did everybody get the whole thing?
I think so. I know that I got distracted by the Facebook screen started talking and it was audio from 5 minutes ago and I was scrambling to get that off and then you were still talking and I didn't want to step on whatever it was you were saying.
Well, basically my rhetorical thought was that the housing solution, the build more houses to bring the price down, I think is as fruitless as build more freeways to stop freeway traffic, to not have them fill up.
Yeah, I think you're probably hitting the nail on the head there. I mean, we're not housing supply is certainly not going to be satisfied anytime soon, and the project that we're talking about does very little to actually mitigate any shortage thereof. So, okay, thank you, Harold. Any other public comment before I move on to what everybody's waiting for, which is Officer Julie Dratt's neighborhood police report? Okay, I don't think I hear any other public comment at the moment. So Officer Dratt, if you're here, please come on down. I'm not sure.
I just want to make sure the audio is working good this time. Am I connected?
Just barely hear you. I
Hopefully
mean,
you guys can hear me okay?
just barely.
Okay, I apologize. I'm not sure if that's any better.
A little bit, maybe.
But, okay. All right, well, I'll try this. Hopefully it'll work. Anyway,
Okay, yeah,
so
now
good
we hear
evening. I'm just gonna, okay. I'm gonna apologize ahead of time. I will not be in attendance next month. I'm unavailable, so I apologize now. But if there's questions, concerns that come up in between now and then, please email me and I will try to get an answer back as soon as possible. It has been over 3 years that Cap Knighton has been with us here at Northeastern Division, and he has now moved on to Mid-City Division. So we now have a new captain, Mike Holden. I did put an introduction on him out on nextdoor.com. And hopefully here soon at one of the meetings that'll be in the next attendance, whether it's on Zoom or in person. We're gonna be looking forward to introduce. So I will go ahead and open up for any questions. And I can't see you, so if somebody has a question, I can't see other screens.
Okay, does anyone have a question?
No questions?
Does anyone have a question for Officer Dratt this evening?
I do have one more.
Yeah, this is Kurt. Kurt Carlson. I have a question for Officer Dratt.
Yes, sir.
So lately, there's been a lot of these, a lot of people have Ring cameras on their front doors and cameras around their houses. And I'm hearing some interesting things now in regards to the police not being able to utilize those services. Are you aware of what's going on with that? Maybe you could elaborate on what the problems are with the Ring cameras and the surveillance for, porch pirates and people breaking into cars and things like that?
So if I understand it correctly, I think sometime back when more of that was coming out and being more popular with people having the different cameras, we don't have direct access to them, if maybe that kind of helps. If you have video of something that's related to your crime, or maybe your neighbor had reported a crime and you have surveillance that answers it, we just, like I said, we don't have direct ties. We can't be in on like your neighborhood Ring alert, the other neighbors, does that kind of help out? Were you guys able to hear?
Reception's pretty bad.
Okay, so I don't know if that's any better, but what it is we don't have direct access into everybody's Ring cameras. So like if you're in your neighborhood and you have access to talk to your other neighbors because you're part of the neighborhood Ring, we don't have that access. But if you have video of a crime, whether it's, your neighbor was a victim and you have video of that, or it's your own, yes, we can use that video. You just have to share that with us.
Okay,
Maybe
I just thought there was a problem with that based on, I guess it's still our choice to share it. Of course I would share it, but I mean, some people are hesitant about their own privacy, and I guess I just not getting or understanding what the problem is of sharing the video. And somebody's out there trying to stop that, and I just don't get that.
It's just not direct access. So if you send me, it's just like even on your home video before it was Ring, or Arlo, or whichever one that somebody has. If you send us, say, the 30-second block of it capturing the suspect committing the crime, yes, we use that. It'd be submitted as evidence. You just would have to share that with the investigator or the officer on scene.
Thanks, great.
And if I may add, sorry, unrelated to that, and I forgot to mention, because I know I'm not going to be at the next meeting. In regards to National Night Out, we are not doing the large event at our station like we have in the past. What we're going to do this year, again, just because with everything just opening back up, if there's neighborhood watch groups that are doing block parties, if whoever is going to be leading the block party can send us the date. Well, it'll be on Tuesday, August 3rd. And if you can and stop for maybe 5 minutes at as many as we can throughout our division. Obviously, we won't be able to get to all of them, but we're going to try to go and stop by as many as we can and say hello and that. So again, if you guys are having neighborhood watch block parties, please let me know. Again, on Tuesday, August 3rd is National Night Out. Again, we should be out in the neighborhoods between the hours of about 5 and 7.
Awesome. Any other questions for Officer Dratt? I don't see anyone jumping out. So
Alright.
I think we're good for now. Thank you for coming. And I guess we won't see you next month, but we'll see you in August, probably.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Anybody from CMR Fire? CMR Fire. State Senator Brian Jones. Assemblyman Brian Mainshine's rep, Rick Hopfield. Are you here, Rick? I don't see Rick. Okay. County Supervisor Tara Lawson Reamer, Evelyn Andrade. I see her.
I am here.
Awesome.
Hi, everyone. Good to see you all. Just a few quick updates for you all. So the supervisor recently took action to ensure that county programs are based on facts and data, which will lead to better outcomes for all of us. And so she joined with Chair Fletcher to propose launching a new Office of Evaluation, Performance, and Analytics to implement best practices and make San Diego a leader in evidence-based policymaking. And it did pass with unanimous support. So if any of you called in or submitted e-comments, thank you. Secondly, she took action to protect our environment, our quality of life. She's partnered with Supervisor Fletcher and Vargas on some new policies to champion sustainability within the county. So the first was in partnership with Chair Fletcher, called on the creation for a comprehensive native plants landscaping policy for the region so that we can protect our biodiversity for future generations. Additionally, with Chair Fletcher, we asked for an assessment of the county's overall organizational structure to ensure the county is structured in a way that centers sustainability from top to bottom. And along with Supervisor Vargas, she asked for every single department county to develop and implement a sustainability plan. Again, thank you to any of you who called or submitted comments. All three policies passed unanimously. Lastly, the supervisor is taking action to ensure that we have a transparent and inclusive budget process. A lot of people are not aware of the vital role that the county plays in our region, but we have over a $7 billion budget for this upcoming fiscal year. And a lot of the programs that we oversee are critical to the community. So she did host a virtual budget forum for District 3 residents last Wednesday. Hundreds of community members joined in as we walked through the priorities in the draft budget. I will put a link in the chat for anyone who wants to watch that recording. And as always, there's a lot more to share as what's happening. So please sign up for our email list if you haven't already. I'll put that link in the chat along with my email and phone number where you can reach me if you ever have any concerns or needs. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to take them now as well.
Okay, does anyone have any questions? If you have a question, you should be able to unmute and ask it. I'm looking for raised hands and don't see any. Okay, I don't know that we have any questions for you right now, Evelyn. So I think unless somebody comes up with something, you're probably off the hook for now.
All right, thanks everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for being here as usual. We appreciate it. Jack Hoprick from Marnie Von Wilpert's office.
Hey Eric, how we doing, everybody?
There you go. Yep.
So, not a whole lot particular to CMR to update you guys with. I will start off by saying we have received reports of a merchandise vendor selling Trump 2024 merchandise. There were two separate reports. One was at the CMR Plaza, and then one was, I think, a couple blocks away from an elementary school in Sabre Springs. The name is eluding me right now. Just want to let everyone know, if you have noticed this, this is on the radar of, myself and the police department. There were some concerns because some of the merchandise did contain obscene language.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, and whether or not the merchant is permitted to sell merchandise. We're certainly concerned if there is obscene language, being displayed on our streets and near shopping centers. So we're taking steps to address the situation and to consider all possible options of how to make everyone feel safe and feel that they're in a civil environment when they're going about their days in Carmel Mountain. So if any of you have any kind of additional information or you want to follow up with me personally about this, please do so. At my email.
He was there Monday.
He was there. Yeah, we've been getting calls to the office. He's been pretty consistent, it seems. So yeah, we're continuing to monitor the situation, and we're in touch with PD about it. Moving on to announcements. So yeah, nothing too particular to CMR other than what I just mentioned. June 15th, the City Council meeting on June 15th, we'll be seeing the Junipers project. It's a project that is, comparable to the trails, although very different in a number of ways, but still would be relevant to those of you who are interested in seeing how housing projects in District 5 are, proceeding through the various steps in the city for approval and whatnot. So if you are interested in watching that, that'll be on that City Council meeting, June 15th. That meeting starts at 11 a.m. and the agenda will be released, I think, tomorrow. So you can see exactly when in the sequence that will come up. I'll also be sharing a link in the general chat here for the City of San Diego's economic assistance resources. These are aimed to help San Diego businesses who have been struggling due to COVID-19 and restrictions, business restrictions due to COVID-19. So yes, please share this link that I'll share in the chat with anyone who may who this may be relevant for. The city will be conducting an assessment of the city's dams over the next 5 years, all of them. Our dams store more than 188 million gallons of the local water supply. This water supply is crucial for San Diego's water security. I know we've seen some pretty scary sights with dams across the country in recent years, so we're very excited that the city is putting the resources towards ensuring the safety of this critical infrastructure. In the past week or so, you may have seen some articles about a particular city council member abdicating the police department to produce a report on the proliferation of ghost guns in San Diego. That council member was Marnie, and we're very glad that she's taken the initiative to address this very important public safety issue. She'll be meeting in the coming weeks with gun safety advocates, community leaders, and law enforcement officials to make sure that we have an action plan for this and make sure San Diego is safe from this threat. New York State, I think it was yesterday, actually banned the selling of ghost gun kits throughout the state, and that's a very important step and one that I believe that we would like to take here in San Diego to make sure that we're doing all that we can to prevent ourselves from seeing unnecessary gun damage. And lastly, as we continue our fight against this pandemic, City Council voted to extend the ordinances that have been allowing businesses to extend their business operations into parking spots, parking lots. This is very important, because we have been making very great progress towards the virus and this pandemic, but it's very important that we're able to maintain these healthy social behaviors that have empowered us to make these gains against the virus. So we're very glad that businesses will have this flexibility and we'll be able to, accommodate more customers in a safe manner as we go forward. That's all I have for you for announcements, and I'd be happy to take any questions at this point.
Anybody has any questions, feel free to fire away.
Yeah, Jack, I had a question about the business extensions. KUSI had shown a report recently where some of these businesses have spent a lot of money on building trellises out over the parking areas and are going to be required to remove those. So are you saying now that this has been extended? And if so, how long is the extension supposed to last?
Thank you for the question, Kurt. As far as how long the extension is supposed to last, I believe 2022 a certain month. I can't recall the exact month, but I believe 2022 was the year that these extensions are now set to end. I'd have to double check to get the exact month, but I believe that those businesses, the ones that you were mentioning, they would be able to maintain that outdoor operation if you or anyone you know are running a business that is running into problems or being told that you can't maintain that outdoor operation. Please contact us. We'd be happy to look into that and make sure that everything is up to snub as far as the policy goes.
That includes the structures, correct?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn. There's a possibility that a structure itself could be problematic in terms of a city code violation. So I don't want to speak conclusively about this, but in terms of the outdoor structures that have been built that let's just assume are up to snub for city code wise, they should be able to keep those structures up.
Thanks.
Any other questions for Jack? Okay, Jack, I think that's probably it for now, but we will almost certainly come back to you for something, as we always do.
Sounds good.
All right. San Diego Mayor's Office, Stephanie Estrada.
Actually, this may be worth mentioning. So Stephanie is no longer the community representative for District 5. This is a recent development. I'm not sure if it sounds like she probably hasn't contacted you about this yet. Let me look at my phone for the email. I'll give you the name of the new guy who should be reaching out to you, relatively soon.
Okay, so it's safe to say she's not here tonight, and neither is the new guy.
No, and his name is Chris Ackerman Avila. So he's got an MA in urban planning. So should have plenty to offer to the group here. So excited to meet him and.
Good. All right, I'll watch for that. Thank you. Tony Kempton, San Diego Planning Department. Tony Kempton, going once, twice. Tony is not here. All right. Scott Peters, representative.
Sorry, Eric, this is Mark. I have
Yeah.
a quick question about that. When I first started on this board, Tony showed up quite often, actually, almost every time, and then just dropped off the face of the earth, and I don't think we've seen him more than once in the last 20 or 30 months. Do we know why that is? And is, especially with what's going on in the charter of this board, shouldn't he?
Mark, you're breaking up pretty badly, but I got the gist of your question, and that is, where is Tony Kempton and why doesn't he come to our meetings? And I can answer that to an extent. I reached out to the supervisor over there, I don't know, last year sometime, and was informed that they're required to come, I think, once every 6 months, but we have definitely not even gotten that level of attendance. And so I will reach out again and ask, although I don't know that it's an ongoing issue with the planning department and community planning groups. If I reach out to Michael Prince and ask him to come, he usually will. However, it's not his, we're not his group, and unless it's an issue specific to the trails, because that's he's in charge of the master plan update for the trail. So unless we have some action items specifically relating to that, he doesn't attend. So it's an ongoing issue. That's all I can really say about it without saying too much.
I have a comment. Is this perhaps something that we could direct to Council Member Von Wilbert, to Marnie, and ask her to
It's
kind of check over there and see if we can get better representation?
it's been directed. I mean, it's
Okay.
an ongoing issue. I mean, I don't want to be, anything I say is going to sound incredibly negative. It's an ongoing issue and it's a frustration. And even when we are entertaining a representative from the planning department, I don't know that it helps us in any way, shape, or form, because they tend, I mean, I'll say it. I mean, they parrot the city line on everything, and they're incredibly supportive of any and all development, as far as I can tell. So, I mean, I would love for them to hear more of our concerns, and it's been an ongoing issue. It isn't one that I've raised in a few months, so I guess I can go back to raising that. And Jack, you're hearing this, so I guess you can expect to hear from me on it again. And I don't remember if I talked to you about it before, if it was Kersey's rep. I'm pretty sure that it's come up more recently than that, but I can't be sure. So
Yeah, in recent memory, I think Michael Prince was actually the assigned planner not too long ago, and he did come out for a meeting, if I'm not mistaken.
okay.
I mean, I could be mistaken, but if anyone else here has any recollection of Michael Prince being at a meeting, that would be extremely helpful. If not, I mean, this is something, Eric, you and I have spoken about before. As to the value of the presence of someone from the planning department, that's a separate conversation. But we have put feelers out and put those requests out to the planning department from our office to attend these meetings. But if anyone else has any recollection of Michael Prince being here, that would be good to make sure that I'm not having delusions.
No, Michael's been here. If I ask him to come, he will come. It's just that it's not his job to be here at our meetings most of the time. Tony's our guy, and back in the day, Tony used to come every time. And last time I checked, we were told he's supposed to be here at least twice a year, I believe, but that hasn't happened. And I mean, I don't know why not. I really don't. It's frankly not that useful when he does come.
He quit coming when the New Urban West project started.
Pretty much. And I don't want to say we beat up on him when he comes, but he gets an earful, and probably, I don't know. I'm trying not to inject my personal opinions.
Hey, I understand. All I'll say is, our office is noticing this, and I haven't personally touched base with Tony Kempton yet, but I'll be happy to drop a line to him and see about how he feels about coming to next month's meeting.
Great. Okay, so where were we? Okay, I put Steve Rawlings from Total Wine and More here because I hadn't heard from him, wasn't sure if he had something to say to us this month or not. I don't see him here, so I don't think he's here. If I'm wrong, Steve, go ahead and jump in. I don't think he's here. Troy, I know you're here.
Hi there, I am here. I don't have anything prepared for this meeting other than to say that a lot of things have been going on relative to some newspaper articles, some meetings in Carmel Mountain that are supposedly by residents that are for the project, specifically in Walden. And yet I understand that people from the planning group, certain members of the planning group who also live in Walden, were denied attendance to those meetings. And I think that that's something we should sort of keep as part of the record. Those meetings that are being put forth are emails are being answered by New Urban West. So they're trying to organize a coalition of people that represents the New Urban West perspective. And I want to share that, we're all tired of the golf course looking the way it looks, and I can understand how people would like to see that resolved, certainly. But at the end of the day, we need to stick together. We need to find a solution. And we also need to do it in a professional way. One of the disappointing parts about the newspaper article where I was quoted was that there was some indication by the reporter that New Urban West had reduced the number of units from 1,600 to 1,200. And again, for the record, that is totally inaccurate. There was never 1,600 units proposed to our planning group. There were no concessions, and New Urban West continues to use sleight of hand. They continue to do things that are nefarious, in my opinion, particularly as it relates to these meetings, which are not open to others. They pick and choose who can come, and I think that that's wrong. So that's all I wanted to say as related to those issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Troy. And thank you for being here as always and all that you do for Carmel Mountain Ranch. That was Troy Dom with CMR United, because I didn't say his last name when I introduced him. So that brings us to the board discussion regarding the Trails project and the subcommittee. Well, since I'm essentially the subcommittee chairperson, or I guess I am the subcommittee chairperson, I shouldn't say essentially. Rick Smith has been unable to attend, so I've taken over the subcommittee and part of the rest of the world, but just the subcommittee really. Sorry, I'm feeling punchy tonight, folks. It's been a long week. So at the subcommittee meeting, we discussed the letter that we're writing to the city regarding the Trails project, which is really just an edit of our 2020 letter, paring down, focusing it more, making it more digestible, easy to read, and more loaded with facts and figures. And the suggestion that the subcommittee came up with was to bring to the board the idea that we finish the letter and that we share it with the HOA and the Sierra Club. That was the motion that was passed at the subcommittee a couple of weeks ago. And since then, there's been some other information, other developments that have led us to believe that it's likely better for the board not to send this letter, or not to send it anywhere until after the draft environmental impact report responses come back from the city. There's a variety of reasons for that, but I think essentially the recommendation of the subcommittee is based on information that's a couple of weeks old, and the landscape may have changed a little bit. So I know John Chu is working hard on helping us, well, not helping us, he's working hard on drafting the letter with our help, I guess I should say. John, do you have anything to add to the comments that I just made?
No, I would agree that deferring it until the final ER, I think we mentioned that in the past, at least past meeting, if not the previous one or the one before that, mainly because until we have the final ER, we really don't know the shape and form of what is really being proposed.
Right.
And some of the information that was from the letter was originally from last year. Some of it is from the draft EAR, so it would be a lot cleaner if we have the structure and format. I don't know if overall the the structure isn't really going to change, nor the main arguments, but there could be additional detail that would be updated in a final ER.
Right. So rather than duplicate effort and or put out a statement prematurely, we ought to wait for the city on this. Is that what you're saying essentially?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other board comment on this?
Well, I think that that does seem to make some sense to me. It seems like the clock doesn't really start on our activity until the draft EIR responses are complete. So, yeah, it seems like the letter could even be potentially more effective if we wait a bit.
Right. Any other board comment on that?
Yeah, my comments are probably more in line with when the responses come back from the city regarding the EIR, that we should probably start preparing our spiel for the planning commissioners meeting, because I have the feeling that it's going to be like we're going to only get 2 weeks, and this, the responses are going to come out pretty fast. So we're going to have to do two things. We're going to have to digest what's being responded, what the EIR is coming back as, and then how we respond, and we have to prepare that. And we're all going to be preparing certain different things, some of us, and so there needs to be. I know it's kind of like chicken or the egg type of a thing, but we're not going to be having much time, and it's almost like we're going to have to assume the worst in some ways. But maybe I just want to throw it out there just for conversation's sake.
Well, I mean, this is essentially what we're preparing for with the preparation of this letter, right? I mean, the letter is the basis for any argument that we might make.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, well, yeah, I mean, I think you're right. We have to be prepared when the responses do come out. I think the Planning Commission hearing will likely be slated fairly quickly after. I think you can count on the fact that there will be a strategically timed release of the EIR statements to give anyone the least possible amount of time to prepare. So having us prepared is a good thing. So we should probably schedule another subcommittee meeting before the end of the month so that we're back up to speed, so to speak. I think that we were somehow we got onto a tangent at some point that it was important to get something done quickly, and that sort of took over our discussion for a meeting or so. And
there
then
was some discussion about how we were going to respond to the fact that we voted on a project and whether we can make amendments and vote on something else. And I think at this point, it probably makes sense to wait until the final comes out to see what the final
yeah,
has.
we really don't know exactly what we've got until we get that. I mean, we got a pretty good idea, but we don't know exactly.
It's just going to be, we're going to have to respond fairly quickly. And
right.
I guess more than anything, this is just sort of a, hey, let's get ready. It's coming.
Sure.
I don't know if, I think if you look at the letter and our past discussions, I would say 90% of it is probably not, 90% or more is probably not going to change, right? Unless like there's an alternate proposal, which is, we find really great, that we're going to support that. Is there, how much of it is are we really going to change, right? So, they may fix some of the issues that we brought up or fix discrepancies that are in the EIR. But unless you get a substantial change in the project, does it really change our letter or our response? I don't know about that. It's probably going to be pretty close.
Yeah. Very likely. And I mean, I think that we have discussed at other meetings that, I mean, most of our fight, if you want to call it that, is at the city council level, because we don't really expect to be able to move the planning commission that much, but city council is a far more potential for support of our situation, I guess I'd say.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Larry.
So along with our letter, are we also planning on doing a verbal response to it? And are we going to select a key person to make that response, or how is that going to work?
Yeah, with the planning commission hearing, I think we get 10 minutes. And so we have to have a presentation and we have to have a person to present it. And
Okay.
that hasn't been decided. I mean, John Chu is spearheading the current draft of the letter, and we haven't discussed this with him and don't necessarily want to put him on the spot, but it would make sense to me anyway that he would be the person to present this to the planning commission. Unless there's somebody else that really wants to, or John really doesn't want to.
Well, I think we need to find out when it is first. I mean, make sure there's no conflicts or anything with whoever is going to present.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important. I mean, the letter certainly will carry a little bit of weight, but certainly making a verbal presentation to both the planning commission and city council, I think is, really important. I'm sure there'll be a lot on the other side of the desk making presentations and, beating their chest and saying, what a great project it is.
This letter will also be sent out to the planning commission before their meeting, right? I mean, that's the idea. We're trying to get that out
Yes.
to them as well.
I'm not so sure how much, I mean, I fully agree that we should do the letter, but I don't know how much weight it's going to hold with the planning commission.
Well, I mean, if you go back and look at the comments that the planning commissioners made, there are a number of them that actually made more positive statements than any, from the last time. And I think that even on the parking lot project, I mean, the planning commissioners, they're definitely pro-development. I mean, it's unfortunate, but they're architects and developers and people that are more on the building side, housing needs of San Diego. And there's nothing wrong with that, except that how it's done is what we are really wanting to have a voice about. And then hopefully somebody is going to be hearing us and understanding our comments, that they're making sense enough to say, hey, wait a minute, we need to relook at this. But it's almost like it's just a go and blow thing, and just do it while the iron's hot, cook it while you can. And, before the new elections happen in 2022, I don't know.
Okay, any other comment from the board on this or any other trails related topic? I believe what we need to do based on the subcommittee recommendation is probably to have some sort of a motion from the board that we're essentially tabling the subcommittee recommendation for the time being, because I think that was well, being the chairperson of the subcommittee, I think maybe that was a hastily arrived at decision that wasn't completely thought out. So,
Yeah, I'll make that motion, Eric. That the board that we recommend to the board to table the golf course committee's recommendation to send the letter out early for review and wait until the EIR responses we hear back from the city on.
right. Okay. Anybody seconding that?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Okay, let's, anybody opposed, abstaining? So at this point, I'm assuming silence is approval of the motion unless a board member wants to oppose. Okay, so that's what we're doing at this point. We're waiting for the draft EIR responses to come in from the city, and we will continue working on our letter that we, any new information will be incorporated, but we're not sending it anywhere at this point. Okay, so any other discussion from the board on the trails? Any public comment on what we're discussing?
I had a comment, and I don't know if anybody's noticed it, but the weddings at the clubhouse have picked up. And I mean, it's every weekend now, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, sometimes during the week. They're holding them inside now, which I guess is allowable. But I thought the idea was that if there's no golf course, there's no having any weddings and that kind of thing. I mean, they're really loud. They're outside, live bands. We're getting the full brunt of it. I don't know if anybody else in the neighborhoods nearby has heard that. And I thought that this was not allowed anymore. So I'd like to, maybe if we could look into that, Eric, and find out what's going on.
Jack, is this allowed by their CUP?
As for what folks are doing on their own private property,
well, we're talking about the clubhouse.
But that I think that is still, I mean, if the owners of the clubhouse and that property, want to make that decision to lease it out to folks, I do believe that is their own decision. I have seen, in parts of Mission Valley, closer to where I live, I've seen, they're outdoor, yes, but they're large bouncy house kind of facilities for children to have birthday parties in. And
Yeah.
I've seen them crowd, 20 children into these bouncy houses. So I believe there are different, rules and restrictions that apply to public property versus private property. For instance, if you were to try to do that on a city park property, that would not be allowed.
Right, but the clubhouse is operating. They're operating a business, and they have a conditional use permit, or they did. And I remember there was some sort of a code enforcement review of that CUP, and that would have impacted their ability to continue their wedding business. As I remember it, they were. Go ahead.
Harold's got some input here.
Yeah, specifically, the part of the agreement that the planning enforcement division made with them to allow them to continue that business until the property was sold.
Okay.
Once it's closed. I mean, that was, and that the give and take was that they were supposed to maintain the rest of the golf course, and that wasn't going to be suppressed. And yes, they're definitely having weddings. And yeah, it seems like before this all happened, before the course closed, we kind of had an agreement with them, and there was enforcement of, you can't open the doors at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, and because it gets hot inside, you got to run the air conditioning or turn the volume down. Because they definitely get louder than is allowed under noise ordinances. late at night. I'm hearing it. I'm just down a little bit ways from you, Kurt. So I'm hearing it. And let me jump way back to the previous subject, the Planning Commission. I think another reason why we should submit the letter, somebody mentioned it's a good idea to get this letter in front of the Planning Commission before the hearing. I think one reason is to show that we are responding thoughtfully. We are not knee-jerk NIMBYs, and we have put a lot of thought into this. We're willing to see development because it's inevitable and the logical use of the land. But we want to have it be intelligent and thoughtful use in it, because we know that New Urban West and the other people who support them will make the point that, oh yeah, we're doing this, we're doing such a lovely job, and these yahoos from the local people, they're just fighting us because they want to. That's it for me. Did I cover
Alan had a comment too.
Go ahead, Larry.
I think Alan had a comment.
Yeah, probably the same thing, but I want to make sure he makes sure I covered everything.
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm what Harold said when it was part of the city's investigation into the conditional use permit violations. It didn't get into the written agreement, which was a maintenance agreement, but as part of that overall structure of that, the city allowed the use of the clubhouse to continue as an entertainment wedding venue. So there's been no change to that I'm aware of.
Got it. Yeah, I couldn't.
So it sounds like there may be a possible violation of the rules of their being able to operate as an entertainment venue is the issue we're raising here.
Well, Kurt's initial issue was whether or not they could have weddings. I think it's my recollection is that they were allowed to continue on doing what they were doing, which was primarily a wedding business after the golf course closed. And that was permitted by the city to continue.
Okay, so this is the first time I'm hearing of this agreement or any separate agreement of the golf course or the clubhouse being able to operate independent of the golf course. So I'd be happy.
The whole deal that was done between the Wang family and the city regarding the violation of the conditional use permit was a travesty in the sense that it resulted in a one-page agreement that covered maintenance of the golf course only. It didn't mention any of this other stuff in any kind of written agreement, but we were informed that they were going to be allowed to continue. And in fact, they did did continue, except that things fell off during COVID. But now that COVID's dying off, it's obviously picking back up. But the permission from the city to do that within whatever rules they have, such as quitting noise by 11 p.m. on Saturday night, all that should have continued, but again was cut off during COVID, but is now picking up again, although they may be violating some of those rules about when they're supposed to stop the loud music.
Yeah, they are in full operation, inside and out. Doors and windows are wide open after 11 o'clock. They shut down probably around 11:30 normally, and but most of it has been outside until about the last month.
Well, the way to get to the bottom of it, Jack, would be to go back to code compliance, because they were the ones who did all this and negotiated that what I would consider to be a legal travesty one-page agreement which covered maintenance only. That was a lousy agreement, but everybody was happy with it for their own reasons, I guess. But those are the people to talk to, code compliance, because they were the ones who did it.
And Jack, I would also add that, the golf course was a business that was operating under this former CUP that Alan had talked about. And if they're not in compliance with one of the, there's a variety of things that they have to be in compliance with, which I frankly think they're not in compliance with. One such would be removal of trash on the golf course and maintaining the golf course, which, as we know, is not being done. And so the city has the authority under the conditional use permit to revoke that, not allow the business to operate other than as a golf course, which was what the original CUP was all about. So it does give us some leverage to require that they do what is in the agreement, which is the CUP. And there's quite a bit of history on that. So if in fact they're not meeting the requirements of the CUP, then the city could say, all right, well, you can't have weddings. Because it wasn't originally a wedding business, right? It was originally a golf course that allowed weddings as a part of the incremental part of being a golf course.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, if there isn't an agreement between the city and the owner of the golf course, to maintain that wedding operation, we want to make sure that they are, operating within the confines of the laws that and the policy that was set for them. If there are any, breaches of that policy, of those rules, we'll certainly want to crack down and make sure that they're operating in the responsible manner that the city laid out for them. As far as the golf course and getting into the nitty gritty about what they're allowed to profit off of, I'm not too sure, but I think the role our office can play, in this issue that you're raising is just ensuring that no code rules are being broken, and that any operation coming out of that clubhouse is being done so in a responsible way that's abiding by the rules that we set for them.
So Jack, the things that have been going on is that they've been increasing their parties, staying open past 11 p.m. The doors and windows are wide open at night, loud music and all that, and the course is not being maintained. Those things need to be brought up.
Certainly. I mean, the course, the lack of maintenance on the course, I believe has been an issue that we inherited, that our predecessor has also seen. Certainly, we've sent plenty of cases over to code enforcement about that have been related to lack of maintenance of the golf course, whether or not it's overgrow into someone's property or illegal dumping onto the golf course. My only concern in the point that you're bringing up about it being a code violation that they're not maintaining the golf course to a certain standard is that I'm curious why the city has not cracked down on them earlier. If this is an agreement that has been agreed upon before our taking office. I see you, Dan. I see you there. I personally have not seen this agreement and the exact language of it. If this agreement does say that the golf course should be maintained to a certain standard that the owners are not maintaining it to, we will happily look into that, because it personally really disturbs us, the quality of the golf course, to everyone in our office, if I'm being frank. So I'd be happy to look into that if they are breaching some very foundational agreement to the policy. But as far as those other things, being open past 11 with windows open, doors open, those are certainly things that we can get PD attacked on and address and be responsive to. And if not, then we can prescribe some preventative measures. But yeah, if there is some large thing as far as them being so inadequate in maintaining the golf course based upon an initial agreement, please, I mean, our office would be happy to look into that, because we do not like the golf course in its condition any more than you guys do.
All right. So Jack will look into that, and I'm sure, as Karen points out in the chat, that any one of several people could email you the maintenance agreement. I guess now that I think about it, I probably have it as well. So,
Mhm.
so thank
Well,
you.
so that's, yeah, we'll send it to the city attorneys and, we'll get a definite answer on, what is and exactly not permissible.
Right. Okay, so any other discussion regarding the project itself or anything else related to the project itself? All right, doesn't sound like it, at least at this time. So if there's nothing else, then I'm going to move on to the next agenda item, which is essentially to adjournment, because we don't have, if I had a chair's report, I wouldn't be capable of delivering it right now. I'm extraordinarily tired, and a lot of reasons for that, but I don't have anything for you tonight on that. We don't have any action items or new business. So if there's anything else that anybody wants to add, I guess now would be the time, because I'm getting ready to adjourn.
I'm just happy Jack swapped his Chargers banner with the Padres. I hated seeing that Chargers all the time. It just bugged me, and now good change.
I haven't
I
watched.
appreciate we can find common ground on the Padres, Rich.
Yes, the Padres.
I'd just like to mention one thing, Eric. I am a volunteer at the US Open next week. A golf course that the city of San Diego actually owns and maintains, which maybe they should have thought about buying another property. There was a golf course. If you see me on the 18th hole on Sunday, holding my hands up, that's me.
So if we see a guy that looks like you,
that's me on the 18th hole. On the 18th hole on Sunday, as a marshal, I got a plum assignment.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Are you gonna keep the CMR plan poster with you to hold up in those hands?
I was thinking about how to do that. Open space. I don't know. You guys give me a shirt. I can put it over my jacket at the last minute. I'm there.
Just make sure you're facing the fans when you hold your hands up.
Exactly. I saw that.
Face the blend. Face the Goodyear blend.
All right, folks. I appreciate y'all being here tonight, and I guess a little bit of a lull in the activity this month, but don't let the lack of activity tonight fool you. The board is busy, and we will be ready for presentations to the San Diego Planning Commission and City Council. Of that you can be sure. And if there's nothing else, I'm going to go ahead and adjourn and eat my dinner and go to bed.
Night night.
Good night.
Night night.
All right. All right, folks. Thank you very much. And I'll get a notice about the a subcommittee meeting so we can continue that discussion. All right. Thank you very much. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Everyone.